Huntsville Station on 1.
This is Mission Control Houston. Good morning to you, everyone, and welcome to the International Space Station Flight Control Room here at the Johnson Space Center. This is today's ISS update. It is Monday, June 11th, 2012.
Pick back up.
The crew on board the space station is busy working on a series of experiments and routine maintenance work. The team down here on Earth is being led today by Flight Director Royce Renfrew. He is standing up there. He is joined by the Capcom today, which is veteran astronaut Sandy Magnus. She herself lived on board the space station complex, also flew the last space shuttle mission, STS-135. Today is her actual final day of training as a Capcom, so we'll be seeing her face and hearing her voice a bit more here inside Mission Control. Today, the three Russian crew members, including Oleg Kononenko, Gennady Padalka, and Sergei Revin, are spending some time observing Russia Day, which is a holiday for our colleagues in Russia that recognizes national pride and social and economic achievements throughout history. Of course, there are many from that nation, the space program, not the least of which gets recognized on Russia Day. Joe Akaba, one of the flight engineers on board, is performing a quarterly inspection of one of the onboard treadmills. Those treadmills are an important piece of equipment for the crew to use each and every day.
Give me a quick brief.
It requires some upkeep up there on board, so he is taking care of that today. He is also doing some work on what is called the Combustion Integrated Rack, or the CIR. This rack, including its twin, which is the Fluid Integrated Rack, are large pieces of experiment hardware on board the space station. The Combustion Integrated Rack is used to perform combustion experiments, just like its name sounds, up in space. It's fairly large. It has a 100-liter combustion chamber, which you see the majority of there, and 5 different cameras that the crew and also the ground teams can use to see the different experiments that are inside.
I'll just leave it at the maximum of 10.
The crew actually helps maintain the racks and the fuel bottles, which are mounted down below, that provide the fuel to burn inside the rack. But the actual experiments themselves are run from the ground, so they're remote controlled. Akaba also spending some time moving cargo out of the automated transfer vehicle that is still docked with the station back there on the Russian segment. That ATV, which is called the Amaldi, came up back in March and docked with the International Space Station. You see this very large spacecraft here with its X-wing solar arrays, which set it apart from other vehicles. It's going to spend the next several months attached to the station. It brought up more than 7 tons of supplies for the crew, so they've been spending the last several weeks and a couple of months unloading it. They will continue this throughout the summer and then pack it full of trash and other items that they don't need anymore. And ultimately, coming up in August, September, or at the end of the summer, that ATV will be undocked from the station and sent into a destructive reentry in the Earth's atmosphere. This ATV is the third of the ATVs that have come up to the station complex.
Put the ignition in work.
Andre Kuipers is working on some routine work inside Kibo on the ventilation system. This is some routine maintenance work that he and the rest of the crew have to do throughout the entire space station complex on the different modules there. He will take care of that and take some photos of his work and send that down to the ground team so they can verify that everything has been done according to plan. He's also working on what's called the Integrated Cardiovascular Ambulatory Monitoring Experiment. Obviously, the human body is one of the main focuses of station experiments to find out what happens to us as we're up in space for extended periods of time. These lessons learned from the space station will be important as humans venture beyond low Earth orbit to destinations such as an asteroid or back to the moon or the moons of Mars or whatever it may be. This particular experiment has the crew member wear a device that monitors blood pressure for 24 hours. After that takes place, then they basically do the same thing with an EKG machine, which records electrocardiogram signals from the heart. All this is put together to find out exactly what happens to us up there on board the space station. And finally, Don Pettit is working on an experiment called BASS. This stands for Burning and Suppression of Solids up in Space. It's an interesting experiment, sort of like the Combustion Integrated Rack. It takes a look at how things burn in space. Fire behaves extremely differently inside the weightless environment of the International Space Station. What BASS actually takes a look at is how do you extinguish fires up in space? Because the accepted theory is that here on Earth, the way a flame behaves, that you aim the fire suppression or the extinguisher down at the base of the flame, which is where the flame is basically created, and also serves as its stabilization point. But that may be a bit different up in space. So this BASS experiment takes a look at that, how the fire behaves, and how someone would put that out up there in space.